Sam, thanks. New at 4, police and Kaukauna responding to a civil complaint. At least 5 officers this morning responding to the 900 block of Grignon Street, returning after an hours-long stay on Monday. Mary Piacenti has been looking into the incident. She's live in Kaukauna. Mary.
Jason, we're still looking into the exact reason behind the increased police presence right here at 910 Grignon, but here's what we know so far. So what we do know what happened is that we have confirmed that this was a 2-day event. Eyewitnesses say police were here in front of 910 from about 9 a.m. to approximately 3 p.m. Monday, and that there were at least 5 cop cars here as of approximately 10 o'clock this morning. Now, Kaukauna police adding that no one is charged or in custody as of this afternoon, but their investigation is ongoing. Neighbor Ann Nowak saying she was across the street Monday morning where she saw and heard the police response.
Around 9 o'clock yesterday morning, I heard 3 loud bangs and looked out my window and saw that there were 3 or 4 police officers and a vehicle with 7 or 8 people standing in the street, trying to see if someone was home across the street.
Now, we're still waiting for more details for this investigation, but we will give you those details as this story develops. In Kaukauna, Mary Piacenti, Action 2 News.